After nearly 3 years with a front-row seat to China's burgeoning military capabilities, the head of U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, Navy Admiral John C. Aquilino, offered a parting warning to lawmakers on the country's expanding geopolitical objectives. China's actions are becoming much more belligerent, their rhetoric is clearer. They have now articulated that the feature at Second Thomas Shoal is sovereign territory of the People's Republic of China.
As I look at over my last 3 years, the security environment has changed drastically, and not in a good way. When you look at the PRC as the most concerning security threat that exists, they continue to be more aggressive in a variety of areas. They're challenging the current international rules to benefit an authoritarian society that does not provide benefit for anyone else in the region. They've expanded their military capability. Their verbalization is more aggressive and their actions are more aggressive, and they've now accelerated to dangerous.
Perhaps most dangerous in the Philippines. On Tuesday, Chinese Coast Guard blasted a Philippine vessel with water cannons in the Scarborough Shoal, which China claims as its own. It also claims the Second Thomas Shoal, where Chinese boats have rammed Philippine boats trying to resupply a ship the Philippines intentionally grounded. The U.S. acknowledges it is obligated to defend the Philippines. Are Chinese actions increasing the chances of U.S. Chinese conflict?
Yeah, the Chinese actions are certainly destabilizing to the region. They are putting at risk the Philippine Coast Guardsmen, sailors, and those fishermen that operate in their exclusive economic zone within the full rights of the Philippines.
If one of these incidents becomes deadly, then that becomes a very serious challenge for the U.S. and for the military.
That could absolutely be a challenge for the United States, again, through the policy level. Nick, the important part of this, again, it's the Philippines today, but we have to highlight the fact that China has these same claims throughout the entire South China Sea.
China claims almost the entire South China Sea, brushing off rival claims from other countries, including the Philippines, and an international ruling that its assertion has no legal basis. The triangular chain of reefs and rocks that make up Scarborough Shoal lies 240 kilometers west of the Philippines' main island of Luzon, well within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. While nearly 900 kilometers from Hainan, the nearest major Chinese landmass. Since seizing the shoal, Beijing has deployed its Coast Guard and other vessels that Manila says harassed Philippine ships and prevent its fishermen from accessing the rich lagoon. The latest incident came as the Philippines and the United States held a major annual military exercise that has infuriated Beijing. Manila and Washington have a mutual defense treaty, and recent confrontations between Philippine and Chinese vessels have fueled speculation of what would trigger it. President Marcos said last month that U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin had given assurances that the treaty would be invoked if another foreign power killed a Filipino soldier. Aquilino warned that Beijing continues its aggressive military buildup, modernization, and coercive gray zone operations, all indications pointing to President Xi Jinping's directive to be ready to invade Taiwan by 2027. Also becoming more alarming is China's actions in and over the South China Sea, highlighted earlier incident when the Philippines accused the Chinese Coast Guard of using water cannons and obstructing a Philippine resupply mission in the region, dubbing it the most serious incident so far. Aquilino highlighted the country's bullying behavior stretching from India to Malaysia and Vietnam, and emphasized that the U.S. would respond in line with the Defense Treaty Agreement. The fire-hosing of our Philippine allies, the ramming of their ships and preventing their ability to resupply their sailors on the Sierra Madre, as well as restricting their ability to utilize the resources inside their exclusive economic zone is all counter to international law, Aquilino said. We continue to articulate that Article 5 of the Mutual Defense Treaty applies if the Philippines, as our allies, were to be attacked. More and more countries are responding to China's aggressive behavior and looking to secure their interests in the region. Seeing it from like-minded countries of UK and European nations, more of them are going to deploy naval and military assets to the Pacific. The centrality of Association of Southeast Asian Nations is important to the region. And it's not that they're not seeing it. Their concern is about speaking out and being at risk from China's economic coercion and other behaviors that will negatively impact their nation. How the Philippines react. Manila summoned a senior Chinese envoy on Thursday to protest a water cannon incident that damaged two Philippine vessels during a patrol in the South China Sea. A Coast Guard vessel and another government boat were damaged in the April 30th incident near the disputed Scarborough Shoal, according to the Philippines Foreign Ministry. Zhou Jiayong, second highest official at the Chinese embassy, was summoned by Manila over the harassment, ramming, swarming, shadowing and blocking, dangerous maneuvers, use of water cannons, and other aggressive actions of China Coast Guard and Chinese maritime militia vessels, according to a statement from the Defense Department. China's aggressive actions, particularly its water cannon use, caused damage to the Philippines' vessels, the ministry added, demanding that the Chinese boats immediately leave the shoal and its vicinity. The Philippines said the pressure in Tuesday's water cannon incident was far more powerful than anything previously used, and that it tore or bent metal sections and equipment on the Philippine vessels. Thursday's diplomatic protest was the 20th lodged by Manila this year, and 153rd since President Ferdinand Marcos came to power in mid-2022, the foreign ministry said. The Chinese embassy did not immediately respond to a request for comment. China's Coast Guard had previously said it expelled the two Philippine ships from its waters near Wangyan Island, the Chinese name for Scarborough Shoal. The shoal has been a flashpoint between the two countries since China seized it from the Philippines in 2012. The Indo-Pacific Squad meeting in Hawaii amidst China's aggressive action. The defense ministers from Japan, the United States, Australia and the Philippines on 2 May 2024 pledged to maintain the rules-based order in the Indo-Pacific region, where concerns are growing over China's increasing assertiveness.
Secretaries and ministers today. U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin III, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Defense for Australia, the Honourable Richard Marles, Minister for Defense for Japan, the Honourable Minoru Kihara, and the Philippines Secretary of National Defense, the Honourable Gilberto Teodoro Jr.
Earlier today, I had the chance to meet with Deputy Prime Minister Marles and Minister Kihara. We discussed how we can deepen our trilateral cooperation to strengthen stability and security throughout the Indo-Pacific. And together with Secretary Teodoro, we held an historic meeting to further deepen the defense relationships among our four countries. Just last year in Singapore, the defense ministers from Australia, Japan, the Philippines, and the United States met together for the first time. Today's meeting, the second of its kind, built on that momentum, and it helped advance a vision that our four democracies share for a free and open Indo-Pacific.
Well, thank you, Secretary Austin, Minister Kihara, Secretary Teodoro. It is a pleasure and an honour to be standing with the three of you here today. We meet at a time when the global rules-based order is under intense pressure. We see that in Ukraine with the appalling invasion by Russia of that country, but we see the global rules-based order under pressure in the Indo-Pacific as well. A challenge to the global rules-based order in Ukraine is a challenge to the global rules-based order in the East China Sea, in the South China Sea, in the West Philippine Sea. And our four countries are utterly committed to asserting freedom of navigation, to asserting the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, to asserting the global rules-based order around the oceans of the world, including in the West Philippine Sea. Our alliance with the United States has been the cornerstone of Australia's national security since World War II. And today, the security relationship that we have with both Japan and with the Philippines has never been closer. But as close as our respective bilateral relationships are, there is a power and a significance in our four countries acting together. And today, the meetings that we have held represents a very significant message to the region and to the world about four democracies which are committed to the global rules-based order. In our discussions today, we've spoken about an increased tempo of defence exercises based on the reciprocal access agreements, the status of forces agreements that we have between our countries or which are being negotiated. We have been very pleased to sign the research, development, testing and evaluation arrangement with Japan and with the United States, and this arrangement will see much greater collaboration between our countries in relation to defence science and technology. And we've also discussed ways in which our countries can coordinate more in terms of our activities in the Philippines, which is very important as well. As I said, we are for people who have a very close personal relationship, which reflects the significance of the relationship between our countries and the determination and commitment that we have as four countries to upholding the global rules-based order within our region. And Australia has been very pleased to be able to participate in today's meetings. Finally, can I just say, the United States Indo-Pacific Command is profoundly important to the national security of Australia, but also the countries of the region. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Admiral Chris Aquilino for his service in this command during his tenure of office. He is a dear friend of Australia, and we wish him very much the best for his future. In the same breath, I'd also like to say how much we are looking forward to Admiral Sam Paparo taking up his role as the Commander of Indo-Pacific Command. I've had the opportunity to get to know Admiral Paparo over the last few years, excuse me, and I know that this command could not be in a safer or better pair of hands. And so with that, we wish both men all the best for the handover tomorrow.
First and foremost, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Secretary Austin, DPM Marles, Secretary Teodoro, and everyone involved for your effort to realize this meeting. While the security environment surrounding us is facing even harsher challenges, it is extremely vital for us, allies and like-minded countries, to cooperate and collaborate with each other. In order to maintain and bolster peace and stability of the Indo-Pacific region under such circumstances, it is extremely significant that we are able to hold a second meeting of the U.S., Australia, Japan, and Philippine Defense Ministers meeting, and furthermore to be able to hold the first joint press conference on the four nations. We stand by together with all the nations who share a common vision of the free and open Indo-Pacific, which is the foundation of the peaceful and stable Indo-Pacific region. Japan considers it is the most important to maintain and bolster free and open international order based on the rule of law. I explained the East China Sea situation in the meeting, as well as also issues around South China Sea is the valid interest matters of the international society, including the four nations, which is directly related to the peace and stability of the region. We stand united to strongly oppose any attempt to unilaterally change the status quo of the South China Sea by force or any activity to heighten the tension in the region. Last month, we had a joint exercise with U.S., Australia, Philippines, and Japan in the South China Sea. And this was the first joint maritime cooperative activities, MCA, by the four nations to strengthen the regional cooperation to realize free and open Indo-Pacific. And at that opportunity, the four ministers who are present today issued a joint statement demonstrated that the solidarity of our four nations to the international society. We would like to continue to pursue the further opportunities of cooperations. Currently, we are under negotiation to reach RAA, Reciprocal Access Agreement, with the Philippines. The early settlement of this negotiation will further activate and vitalize the bilateral joint exercise and training on the Philippines and Japan military units, and expected to contribute to the reinforcement of the cooperation among the four nations. Japan is determined to further strengthen the cooperation of the four nations and will make all possible efforts to secure peace and stability of the Indo-Pacific region. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary Austin, Deputy Prime Minister Mars, Minister Chiara. Thank you once again to Secretary Austin for hosting this historic meeting today. It comes after the trilateral meeting between our heads of state in Washington, D.C., and in our case, the visits bilaterally of President Ferdinand Marcos to Australia, Japan, and the United States. The underlying principle of this meeting is a shared respect for a rules-based international order and the upholding of international law. And it is safe to say that four independent countries voicing the same message means an important thing in the face of a unilateral declaration by a single theater actor. And this is what perhaps the symbolic suggestion of four defense ministry and department heads are here today. And in this spirit of upholding a rules-based international order, a free and open Indo-Pacific, and upholding international law, we meet here once again today in the latest iteration of our four countries multilateral cooperation. We are gratified to see that the Philippines' role as at the forefront of severe challenges to its territorial rights, challenging the accepted norms of international law, are accepted by like-minded nations. We welcome their partnership and in cooperation, not only to protect solely its territorial integrity and sovereignty, but to uphold, once again, let me reiterate, principles of international law which guide the global order in the proper way that nations should live amongst each other. On a more concrete note, this latest iteration will give birth to further cooperation and coordination and interoperability between four of our countries, which the four of us have committed to work closer together in order to have more synergies and partnerships, in order to make this alliance that we have stronger and more sustainable in the long run. Also, we look forward to concluding a reciprocal access agreement between Japan and the Philippines so that our interoperability quadrilaterally can be in a more complete manner, can be enforced in a more complete manner. Lastly, we thank Admiral Aquilino of Indo-PACOM for his service to the region, and we welcome working with Admiral Sam Paparo. Once again, thank you, Secretary Austin, for hosting us, and we look forward to more fruitful outcomes in the future as we work closer together, not only in terms of our departments, but in true people-to-people understandings and exchanges. Thank you.
Thank you all, gentlemen.